Okay. Okay, we're
Well,
back.
Aaron, we were sending regards to Shmuley Sugar. You know what I mean?
I think there was a good 8 minutes of Narish guys. I think we could cut out. Go ahead.
Okay. So, wow, that's Shmuley's morning drive time radio that you just took away from him. Okay. Anyway, so with on the bottom line of Yudam and Beis, so we had a machlokes, right? And I don't think we discussed the practical applications of the machlokes of nowadays, but machlokes is when a guy either he kills a shar or a shar kills a shar. So now that dead shar is worth something. The carcass is worth something. So does he have to pay back? Does the damager have to pay back whatever he damaged minus the carcass? Or does he have to pay back the full amount, whatever it was worth? So we said that he has to pay back, he only has to pay back the what do you call it? The spread. The spread. Right? Meaning let's say the show was worth $100 and the carcass is worth 10. So he only has to pay back 90. Right? And whose headache is it? It's the nizik's headache to have to get rid of it, which is really not fair. It's really not fair. The guy was the guy. His shar is minding his own business, and then he gets knocked off by somebody else's shar, and now he has to deal with the carcass. Yeah, that's the way it goes, right? So I'm saying, I think the most practical application of this is a car accident, right? So it means car accident. So who has to deal with getting the car fixed? Right? Can the nizik tell the mazik, hey, you take care of the car? Right? No, the nizik. I mean, the mazik can say to the nizik, you take care of it, and I'll pay whatever it is. But anyway, that's the practical. So anyway, so that's what we said. So now the Gemara is going to try and say maybe it's a machlokes. Bottom line, you don't base lema pchas nevela tanoihi. Let's say that pchas nevela means pachos, right? How a nevela is worth less is actually machlokes tanoim. The Tanya and Taraf yitraf yivu aid. Right, the pasuk says, right, we had it and further up in the Amud, if it'll be tarif yitarif, yivu if it's gonna be torn up, meaning one animal is gonna tear up the other animal, then you should bring a testimony on Tamid Aleph now. So what does this mean? Yavi edim shindutrifa ba'inus. You have to bring edim that it became. This is talking about a shomer, right? A guy's supposed to be watching the animal, so he's supposed to bring edim that he watched it properly, and this that the animal got destroyed was an einus, and then he's going to be potter, right? Because the shomer sacher is potter from einsin, right? So yavi edim shindutrifa ba'inus, or potter and it'll be potter. Abashol disagrees. Abashol yavi aduda lebezdin. He should bring an aduda. So Rashi says aduda is based on a pasuk. There's a targum of adah, right? Which he learns to mean like some sort of a dead animal. Meaning Abashol is saying he brings the dead animal to court. Now it can't be that Abashol is talking about that he holds that the guy's going to be chayiv, because it's a very clear din that if somebody's watching somebody for something for somebody, and he's a total oinus, then he's potter. So Abashol is not saying that he's chayiv. Abashol is saying in a regular, the pasuk's coming to tell you not a case of where something happened with an oinus. It's coming to tell you that when the guy is liable, when the shomer is required to pay, he doesn't have to pay the price of the car because he brings it to Bezdin. Bezdin evaluates how much it's worth, and then he has to pay the rest. Okay, now it's very interesting because Tosfos has a total different girsa. Rashi has Yavi Aduda. Tosfos is the second Tosfos down is Yavi Arura, the cursed one, right? Because that's just bad luck, right? The cursed one. Pirush Shemesa Beloy Bracha. Right? It died without bracha. It got killed by somebody. Anyways, fine. So Yavi Adu lebez. My lab. What's the machlok? It's the marsa of our chas nevela the nizikavi. One holds that the chas nevela goes to the nizik, meaning abashol. So since it goes to the nizik, he has to bring it to Bezdin so that they find out exactly how much the mazik has to pay. right? Umar Savar, the Mazakave. And the other one holds that it belongs to, that doesn't belong, but the Mazik is the one that's responsible for it, right? So Gemara answers like the Kuli Amid the Nizik. Everybody holds that the Nizik, the dead animal belongs to the Nizik. We're talking about the tircha of bringing the nevela, right? Meaning whose responsibility is to take care of it. Vatanya, and here Vatanya means it's a raya, not a kasha. Vatanya, how do we know that it's on the Baal Habar, that he's the one that has to bring up the shor? Meaning a shor falls into a guy's bar, it dies. Whose responsibility is to take that shor out of the bar? How do you know that it's the owner of the bar? He has to return the money to the owners and the mace, right? This is also play on words because Bahames he Eloi. Yeah, it's not a play on words, but it's it's putting the comma where it's not really meant to be, but it's saying kesef yashul balav behames. So he has to give the mace and the kesef back to the owner. Right, so this is like Abashol, right? That the one who damaged has to bring it. Right? So according to Abashol, l'chayra, the one I said the one who did the damage, the one who damaged has to bring it. Right? So the one who damaged has to handle the whole thing. So according to him, if a guy gets into a car accident, it's his fault. So according to Abashol, he would have to bring it around to the car shops, right? And pay for it. That actually comes up. So let's say the guy who got damaged finds an expensive auto body repair, and the guy who damaged found a cheaper one, right? So the guy wants it to go to a more expensive. The one who got damaged, he wants to make sure it's a good job, and the damager says no, let's go with the cheap one, right? So who wins out? So the halacha is that the damager wins out. I think in legal also, whoever's paying for the damage is the one that gets the choice. Now, obviously, the repair has to be done properly, right? Has to be done properly. But if it's not done properly, then the guy's going to have to redo it. But as it goes, it's since the damager is paying for the damage, so then he has dibs on who he can bring it to.
Yaakov, I had this a few months ago. Chabadska Jungerman bumped into me on in front of the Dunkin' Donuts on the way by the airport, not the one in town, but further down.
Yeah.
So I went to Yossi Seif. He damaged the bumper. No big deal. But it was Yossi said it was $500. So I called him, this younger man up. He said that's crazy. Is there a cheaper guy? So I gave him Seif's phone number. And Seif told him that one of the collision places is cheaper than him. So then he told me he wanted me to go there. So I said, you know what? I said, Seif gave me a price. I said, give me $100 less than that, and I'm going to take it to Seif. And I'll eat the 100 because Seif says he's a Shomer Shabbos and he's the best painter in town. I don't want to go to the other guy. So he was masking, and that's what we did.
Interesting. That's very nice of you. Nice of you. Yeah, but well, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you're supposed to give to a yid anyways, the parnah, right? But yeah, let me tell you, when you deal with an accident with goyim, though, it's mamish. I don't know if anybody here ever got into accident with goyim. It's crazy. It's mamish crazy.
With that detective?
No, with that and no, stop. No, other times I scratched with goyim. They mamish. They will milk you for every penny on a, you know what I mean, on a scratch and on a dent.
Yaakov, they treat their cars like we treat our kids.
Yeah.
I'm serious. It's not a joke.
Better.
And their dogs, and their dogs, and their this and their everything.
You got guys going out in the middle of the day to like with the hand towel to polish their car on their lunch break.
All right, so it's the age-old joke. You ever see a frum guy say on Sunday morning, you know what I'm gonna do today? I'm gonna put the armor all on the tires. That's what I'm gonna do today. Never in history has a from guy ever spoken those words. Amara, no, you ask him?
I guess back then I probably wasn't from.
Very good, Avi.
Yeah. I guess
Last Sunday,
gets in the way of Aaron of shining your car. It could get a little bit. Anyways, okay. So Amalei Abai L'Rava. So Hai Tareach Nevela Hechidami. What does this mean? The tirch of the nevela. What's the case? Right? Ilema de Babira Shavi Azusa. If it's worth when the dead animal is on the bottom of the bar, it's worth a zuz. Va'aguda Shavi Arba. And when you bring it up out of the bar, it's worth 4. Meaning you're going to sell a guy, say, hey, buddy, you want to buy a dead animal? Say, sure. How much is it? It's at the bottom of the bar. I'll give you $1. Right? Say, oh, but it's on the top of the bar. Say, no, that's already much more money. It's easier to get. It's more access. So it's $4. So kitarach b'danav sheika tarach. Right? The guy, he's working for himself. Right? Because he won't have to pay that. Of course he's gonna want to schlep the shor out of the bar himself. He'll have to pay less damages. Right? Because it's worth more. So that can't be the case. Right? That would be pashut that he should do it. It's worth a zuz in the bar, and it's worth a zuz out. Meaning it doesn't go. It's not worth any more out of the zuz, out of the bar. So when I ask is that possible? That means to schlep the carcass out of the bar is absolutely worthless. Right? So Gemara says, yeah, in the Amri Inchi, Kshura b'masla b'zuzah. If you have a kshura is a beam, a beam for construction. In town, it's a zuzah, kshura b'dabra, and a beam in the midbar is also a zuz. Right? Meaning, how could it be worth the same? So for whatever reason, location doesn't change. Right? I think the mashal I was thinking about this is, the national chains, they don't change their prices regardless of how much real estate costs. I think. If you go to a Target in middle of whatever, in a bad neighborhood, and you go to Target expensive, it's gonna be the same price.
Right. Home Depot has the same price in here than in Hawaii. In Hawaii, they got to ship it over the ocean, 2,000 miles.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Exactly.
One of the only exceptions to that is some locations in Manhattan, but generally speaking, nationally, you're correct.
Okay, so that's mamish. This for whatever reason, they can't milk it. They can't milk that delivery. Right? Oh yeah. Okay. Very good. Fine. So Amar Shmuel, new sugi now. So again, we were talking about we said it seems like, according to all opinions, the carcass gets subtracted from what the damagee is going to get, right? Meaning whatever the cow is worth, he gets to keep the money from the carcass. It's just a matter of whose tircha it is, right? So now Shmuel says it different. In Ein Shaman, we don't evaluate for loy leganav or loy legazlan. Meaning, a guy steals something, right? And then it died. Then let's say a guy steals an animal and then it dies, right? So then the gazlan or the ganav can't bring back the dead animal and say, okay, I'll pay you the difference from what a dead animal's worth and a live animal's worth. That no, we don't let him get away with that. He's got to pay the full price, right? Now, what about Yashiv L'Rabba Shava Kesef? I was waiting for Akiva to ask that question, right? So he should be able to. So this sheet that goes with it, you can't. But anyway, so he's saying no evaluations for them. Elul Nizakin. We only do it for damages. Vani Omer, right? And Shmuel is saying on his own, Afla Shoyel, even somebody who borrows. Ba'aba Maidali, and Abba is Maida to me. Abba is Rav, Rashi says. Right? Interesting. Shmuel said over Din, and he says, and Rav, who he argues with a lot of times, Rav is Maida to me on this, that a Shoyel, even a Shoyel. So the only thing, it's a little vague. What does it mean, even to the Shoyel? So Yibaylu, this is the Shail. Hachi Kamar, Afla Shoyel Shaman. Does he mean that even a Shoyel, meaning if a Shoyel borrows something and it gets damaged, even he will get evaluated, and Rav is Maida? Maybe Shmuel saying that even a Shoyel we don't evaluate, But Abba Moili, and Abba is Moili to me. Right? So Toshima, meaning, so again, the Shaila is, was he saying that a shoyl is like a ganav or a gazlan, or was he saying a shoyl is like damages? That's really the Shaila. So Toshima, the Hu Gavra, the Shol, Narga Mechavre, there was a guy who borrowed an axe from his friend, Tavra, broke, also committed Rav. He came in front of Rav. Again, Shmuel said over his din, and he said Rav agreed with him. So he came in front of Rav, Amrle Zil Shlim, like Narga Malia, go pay him back a good axe, a brand new axe. Shema, and obviously, but we didn't point this out, right? If the Ganav and the Gazlan or the Shoyal pay for the full price, then they obviously he gets to keep the dead animal, right? If you're paying for the whole thing, right? If you damage somebody's car and you pay for the whole car, so then you get to keep the car yourself.
But see, Yaakov, did you say that it's because Shavakasa is just a Gzera? Is that what you're saying?
I didn't say it was a Gezerah. No, I was just saying that this sheet is not going with that Shava Kesef is Kesef for a Ganav and a Gazlan.
But you could pay back with Kesef.
You could pay back with Kesef, but if you could pay back with Shava Kesef, so then why can't the guy keep it, right?
So what's the difference between Shavakasa and Kesef according to Shmuel over here? Where does he darshan this?
I don't. Yes, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how the sheetas will work out. With
I know there's an Indian of a Heshav Exela, but Heshav Exela includes Shavakasa or includes Kesef. That's for sure. You could definitely pay back the value.
Right.
It's not a Xera that says, Stam, since you stole it and it's damaged and you're just, you're going to have to keep it and either pay him back?
Could be.
And let's say it's cheaper now.
I'm not sure how to juggle all the sheetas.
Okay.
Right. But one thing is for sure, you can't go with that Shava Kesef is Kesef here, and you can give back whatever you want, because then why can't the guy just give him back?
No, I agree, but you could definitely pay him back with money. Everyone agrees to that as well. So then, like, we're...
Why? Unless you go with the previous Gemara. The previous Gemara said the Pasuk Chiddush was the Chasnavela de Nizik, maybe by Gana for Gazan, Chasnavela de Mazik. So that would be the difference. You can still say Shava Kesef Kekasef. You have to pay back the entire value. Right. You can't say, I'm giving you this now and I'm going to pay you the rest later. No, when he pays it up, it has to be full. If there's a gap, because of Chasna Vela, the Gamif has to fill that gap, not the Nignav.
Right. That's true. Okay, we're going to get more into this as we travel through the Masechta, but hopefully we won't forget this. So, whatever, right? Anyways. So what Shmamina ain't shaman. So you see from this that Rav made him buy a brand new axe. So then so we see that you don't evaluate. By the way, he doesn't have to buy a brand new axe. That's the truth. Right? If you damage a guy's axe and the axe is 5 years old, you can go on eBay and get him a 5-year-old axe. You're not mechuyev to buy him something new. People don't realize this one, right? You smash a guy's car and you have to buy him a new car. You don't buy him a brand new car. You buy him the same car that's 5 years old, 10 years, whatever it is. You're not mechuyev to buy brand new. Anyways, so that was Rav's psak. Other Rav, we say fakert. Mida amri le Rav Kana v'Ravasi l'Rav. Rav Kana Ravasi said to Rav, Dino hachi. Is that taka the din? V'shasik, and he was quiet. Shmami no shaman. So you see the opposite. He held that you do have to evaluate. He held that you don't have to buy him a new axe or whatever, a replacement axe. You can just evaluate how much the axe is worth and he can pay the difference. Right? Because shtika kohidah. So now we have a machlokes, like we were just learning in Orchos Tzadikim. Now we have a machlokes as to what Rav really held. Right? Okay. Itmar. Amar Ula Amar Rabbi Lazar. Shaman leganav ula gazlan. Rabbi Lazar holds that you evaluate for a ganav and a gazlan, meaning if they steal something and then it gets damaged, so they give that back, and whatever it's worth goes to the guy they stole from, and then the ganav has to fill it in. Papi Amar ain't shaman. You don't evaluate. The hilchasa and the halachas ain't shaman. We don't evaluate. Loy leganav, loy legazlan. Aval shoyel shaman, but somebody who borrows and damages, that him we do evaluate. Because Rav Kahana Ravasi, like Rav Kahana Ravasi said. Okay, that is taka the way we passed it. Fine. Amar Ula, now the Gemara, because it's Amar Ula, in the name of Rebbe Lazar. So we get into all these vague, like different random cases. Right? So before that, let's just understand when a woman has a baby or has a miscarriage after 40 days, so then there's Tuma and Tahara. It's very confusing for couples because this stuff doesn't apply anymore. It doesn't apply, the Tara part. But basically what it works is that if it's a baby boy, so she's tummy for 7 days. If it's a baby girl, she's tummy for 14 days. After that, she's what's called Yemei Tahara. Right? So basically what happens
I mean, it doesn't happen nowadays because our need is for longer, you're saying?
No, yeah, they bleed for much longer. And then there's no Yemei Tahara. So it's not really.
Well, back then they used to not.
Back then they had a Yemei Tahara. They had Yemei Tum and Yemei Tahara. But again, this situation comes up I'm going to say every day, a few times a week, unfortunately. Today I had it, meaning at what point?
Because that's the actual halacha. I'm saying when you learn nida, that's
No, this is actual halacha. I'll tell you what's the gaya. A woman, like today, a woman says she started bleeding. She's pregnant 7-8 weeks. She starts bleeding. Then it doesn't get heavy to a bunch of days. So it's a miscarriage, unfortunately, even though 30% of women nowadays bleed during pregnancy and the pregnancies are fine. But this one happened to a minute, not happened, unfortunately. It happens a lot. There was a miscarriage. Right, so the shaila is, when does the 14-day clock start? Does it start from the initial bleeding? Or does it start when it got very heavy? Because that's when the assumption is when the fetus or sac or amniotic sac, whatever you want to call it, comes out. Right? So it can make a big difference in when you decide, when you start that 14-day clock. Right? Now, after childbirth, it doesn't make a difference because most women are not clearing up anyways in 14 days. But if I have miscarriage, a lot of times they'll be cleared after 12, 13 days. I mean, they have to keep the regular 7 clean days, but it could make a difference. Right? And yeah, so Rebbe Lazar, Shilya. A Shilya means it's not a fetus, it's the sac comes out, right? So Shilya Shiyatsa Miksasa B'Yom Rishon and Miksasa B'Yom Shem. So some of it came out on a Sunday, and some of it came out on a Monday, or the first day, second day. But let's use Sunday, Monday as an example. So Moinin Lamin Rishon, we start the 14-day count from Sunday, which L'chaira is a kula. Right? It's a kula because she'll be able to go to mikveh faster. What's your? I'm sorry. It's really it's a chumrah. I mixed it up myself now. Right? Yeah. Meaning, what are you saying? Right. I'm sorry. I messed it up. I was coming from the back end, from the other way. I was explaining the next part of the Gemara first. So basically, if you say that she went into Tuma on the first day, right? So that's both a kula and a chumrah. One is because you're saying she's tummy now, right? Which is you say, okay, it's a suffix, we want to be mach. The problem is that you're going to be making on the back end, because let's say she really didn't become tummy till Monday. Now you're telling her she can go to mikvah a day too early, right? I mean, that's just one variation of the case. Meaning, it's very nice. You want to be machmir that the nida starts now, or the tumah starts now, but you're gonna on the back end. She might be going too early, right? So that's the saying. Yeah.
If Ein Psichas Akeva B'Lei Dam, how can she not be tummy?
Who says it was psichas akeva?
The show you came out.
Maybe it was small. I don't know.
Even if it's small, it's Psichas Akeva.
Yeah. Anyway, I think, anyways, this whole psichas akeva thing came later. This is before that whole thing, I think.
Could it be that she's tummy and we're only donning on the Moinin-la?
Maybe.
She would have 15 days.
It could be. Could be. I'm saying nowadays, yeah. Nowadays we are going to be. I mean, Liz, it's typical. We're machmir both ways. Right? But anyway, so Gemara is saying, what are you saying? So Chumrah doesn't say kulu. The Kamma Taheres Lamirishan. You're going to be matar her from the first day, right? It's meaning if you're stuck, if you're going to be machmer on the beginning, you're going to be makel on the end. So elamarava lochush chesheshes. We're going to be choshed that she goes into tuma on the first day. But of course, we're not going to start the count until the second day, which is exactly what we paskin, right? If a woman starts bleeding, we're going to be, she becomes tameh al nida. But if she starts really getting heavy or something comes out of her, then we're not going to start the 14-day count until that, So it ends up being potentially could be a lot more days, right? Fine. So Gemara says, "My kamashma, what's the chiddush? The ain't mixas shilya v'loy vlad." We're saying that a part of the not the uterus, the placenta. Well, it's not really the placenta either. The sac comes out without a vlad, meaning once it comes out, there's definitely a vlad in there. Tanina, we learned it already. We learned it by an animal. Shilya shilya. So this gets into what we call ben pakua. Right? The din is a very interesting din, right? That if you shecht a cow or any animal, and inside is a fetus that's about to give birth, but it was still inside the cow fully when it was shechted, then that animal does not need shechita. That cow, that calf, does not need shechita. Right? That's the famous thing in Europe when they banned shechita. So the Gedolim wanted to get together and make a ben pekua farm, because then anything that comes out from that animal also doesn't need shechita. Right? With the Rabbanon, it does need shechita, but it's only the Rabbanon as opposed to the Raisa. Right? So they wanted to make this, they wanted to just create a farm like this. Either way, so what happens if it sticks out its foot before the animal was shechted, before the mother was shechted? So then the foot can't be eaten. Right? The foot can't be eaten. So the question is it stuck out its foot, but we don't know how much, etc. like that. Same shayla with the woman's miscarriage. So we already learned that shilya shilatzis yatzis amiktzas. If some of the shilya comes out asura ba'achila, then the whole thing is asur ba'achila. Simin vlad be'isha, simin vlad be'behema, because the sac that comes out is a simin of a birth for a human, and it's a simin of a birth for a behema. Right? So we already know this, that we're concerned that when any part of the sac comes out, that it's considered a birth. Side by the ben pakua and side by the woman. So our answer is, and if it would have been from the Mishnah by the animal, I would have thought, now, the yesh miktzas shilya below vlad. No, really, there is a possibility that the sac could come out without a fetus. Ugzeira miktzasa atukula. We're going to make a gzeira miktzas, some of it atu kula, right? Meaning because we don't know, so we're going to just be machmer. Kamash malan, so it comes along the Mishnah, the Brisa, by Rebbe Lazar, who was it? Ula, was it Ula? Ula, in the name of Rebbe Lazar, that we taka do say that part of the fact of the matter is that when the sac comes out, part of either the animal or the human comes out with it. Okay, that's another case. Third case. Second line down. Bechar shenitraf, b'soich lamed yom, a bechar that was killed within 30 days. Right? Meaning it got killed within 30 days. So we know you don't make a pidyon haben until 30 days because you want to know for sure that this animal will stay alive. So if it became a trade within 30 days, we do not redeem him. Right? Meaning you don't do a pidyon haben. Meaning, so why would you do a pidyon haben on a dead thing, right? So Rashi says that if the baby would have died naturally, there's no chiddush. Of course, you don't do a pidyon, right? That's based on a pasuk. What the Gemara is being mechadish is even if the baby was taken unnaturally, still you don't do a pidyon. Now you say, why should you do a pidyon not alive? Well, we do a bris, right? If a baby is even a baby, a preemie, that it was never even born, that dies, we do give the baby a bris. And they give it a name also. Right? So you see there's such a concept of doing this, right? Because it belongs to the Kayan. So the father should be paid. So we're saying no, it doesn't, we're not paid. It says you should redeem a double lashon. you would think that the double lashon of Torah, Tifta, I'm sorry, is coming to tell you that you should do a pidyon aban on a baby that got murdered. That the ach, it says that you don't. Okay, fine. Next, right? So behema gasa, right? Large animals. The way you're kind of it is you can pull it. We said that you need to. The way to be kind is not just by pulling the animal. You actually have to have it handed over, right? You have to, meaning, if I want to sell something to you, let's say I want to sell my phone to you, so I hand you the phone, you take the phone, you pick it up, right? So that's Masira. So too here, right? So how do you hand over the animal? So Rashi says from the Gemara and Kedushin, you just hand over the reins, right? You hand over the reins. So again, so he's saying, Ulam Shem Rabbi saying that the way you're kind is by pulling it. And we're asking, what do you mean? You're supposed to hand it over. So he goes with the Chachamim hold that both with Mashiach, meaning Behema Gasa and Behema Daka. And Rav Shimon and he says both of them with Hagba. Right? And how do you pick up a large animal? Right? So we had that Gemara and Kedushin with the elephant. So there was different pshatim, right? That's what we said. The Tosfos science disagrees with Tosfos because Tosfos said that the animal could jump. You can make it jump, an elephant. And science says that elephants can't jump, right? Whatever. That's how you kind of. Fine. Next.
Maybe just white elephants can't jump.
I don't think the Olam got that one, but yeah. So brothers that are dividing the Yerusha, Mashaleh and Shaman, what's on them we evaluate. Meaning, what happened is that the father died. I think this is what happened. Father died. The kids have to continue living, right? So they take money from the account, and this one buys himself a shirt, and this one buys himself some stuff. Right? Then when they get to probate it, then they say, okay, let's figure out how much money each son took from the account, and we'll take it out of his chaylim. Right? So we say, so the clothing that the kids, the actual Yarshim, are wearing, the Bezdin will evaluate how much it's worth, and then they'll subtract it from each one's account. Mashal b'nei and b'nei sein ain't shaman, but the einaklach, right? They bought clothing for the einaklach. That we don't evaluate, right? So why? Because they're not in Bezdin. Meaning, if they were in Bezdin, so Bezdin can look at their clothing and say, okay, your clothing is worth this, $5, $10, whatever. But the kids are not, the einaklach don't come to Bezdin, so you're going to embarrass them if you have to go figure out how much their clothing is worth. Right? So Amar Papa Pamim, Af Mashalein Echaman. Sometimes, even what's on the Yarshim themselves, you don't evaluate. Why? What would be the case? Mishkachza Begodol Achi, the oldest brother, the Nichalu L'Shtamun Mile, he had to buy clothing to look good so that people will listen to him. Right? Meaning until they figure out who's going to yarshin what and who's going to get, so somebody has to take care of the money. So the oldest brother usually falls on the oldest brother, right? So he had to go get himself nice clothing because otherwise he won't be able to do business. But he says, 1 second, why should I pay for the nice clothing out of my account? That it shouldn't come out of my chelik of the Yerusha. It should come out of the top. So that would be a situation where Bezdin would agree to that and say that we do not evaluate the clothing that's on him. Fine. If you have one shomer, right? So somebody's watching something for you, and then he says, I gotta go. Can you do me a favor? And he gives it over to somebody else to watch it. So shomer potter, he is potter, right? Meaning, whatever dinim you have as the shomer, and you give it over to another shomer, you're going to have the same responsibility. But it goes without saying that if it's a shomer chinam who's considered less of a watchman because he's not getting paid, he's a free watchman. So you figure somebody who's is watching something for free is not going to be as responsible as the guy who's getting paid. So which is Daluye Aliyah Shmirasai, who upgraded his Shmira, right? Meaning, if I'm a Shomer Chinam, So I'm like, I'm working for free, so I'm not really gonna pay so much attention. But I give it over to somebody and I pay him. So then I just upgraded the shmira, right? So that goes without saying that I shouldn't be responsible. But let's say I'm getting paid and I give it over to a guy for free, which is now a downgrade in the shmira, the hashta grui gar l'shmirasa. He actually downgraded it. Nami potter. I'm still potter. Shari muscle ben das, because I gave it over to a ben das, right? Which gets into the whole thing. Okay, so now let's say it gets damaged. So the guy might come after. Well, this is what the whole machlokes is. The guy who watched it's going to come after me. I'm going to say, don't come after me. I handed it over to a ben das. He said, well, yeah, but I had nothing to do with that ben das. I had nothing to do with him. So we're saying that Ula b'shem Rav Elazar hold doesn't make a difference. It's not. I'm not responsible. I gave it over to a legitimate person. Rav Omar, he says the opposite. Shomer shemasar l'shomer chayiv. I am going to be responsible. Right? I don't need to tell you that, let's say me, I was being paid, which is a higher level of watching, and I hand it over to somebody who's doing it for free. They grew regard the shmira side that it's a worse shmira, so of course I should be liable. But even a free watchman that hands it over to a paying watchman, chayiv. Because you could say, I believe you with the shvua, because a shomer usually has to pay a shvua. If he's going to get out of payment, then he has to say, you believe me with the shvua. I mean, I believe you with the shvua. Hi, loy mehemeli b'shvua. But the second guy is not mehemen to me with the shvua. So therefore, I don't have anything to do with it.
I'm assuming he can still collect from the second guy, correct?
I think it's the first guy's responsibility to get it from the second guy.
Right, I'm saying, but the second guy is still mechuyev b'etzem.
Yeah, but let's say the second guy stiffs the first guy. So what?
So, and Rashi says you even chayav b'noitzin, so it's mashma like you're just.
Yeah, I'll tell you a case I'm hacking with now. But Baruch Hashem, I don't know anything about Choshen Mishpat. That's not Baruch Hashem. That's not a Baruch Hashem. But the fallout is Baruch Hashem that I can only deal with this in a limited case. But a lady at Shetels is a winner with this stuff, right? So one woman is a Shetel. She's not a Shetel macher. She's a Shetel agent, right? She finds Shetels for you. So she got this girl a Shetel, this lady a Shetel, and the Shetel kept having problems, right? But this agent said, don't worry, they're good for their money, ba, ba, ba. Finally, the lady, after a few years of hacking with the Shetel, gave up, right? So she goes to the agent and say, listen, I bought the Shetel from you, right? I bought it from you. I don't know from who you got it from, because then the agent says, no, I was just the agent. You really got it from the Shetel company. Shetel company is stiffing you and saying, even though they told you they're going to pay, they're not paying. Has nothing to do with me. Right, so now we're going around in circles. Whose responsibility? It's not exactly the same thing as here, because here's shmira. There's a purchase, right? But you have that. The bottom line is, it seems like the agent is responsible. And my limited understanding, my limited asking those that do understand these halachas, it seems like the agent is responsible. Now, if the agent wants to go get her money back from the company, gives them to hey. That's the way it would be here, according to Rava, right? That the shomer is going to be liable. He can go after his shomer if he wants, if he so chooses, but it's not. But the original guy doesn't have to. Right? Okay, I guess it's a new sugya. Yeah, so we'll stop here. The sugi goes on to the next number. So we'll stop over here. Okay, let's say it.
Now maybe you could submit that Meiser to the Beis Havad in the Ami magazine.
Parents, I'm sure they've had it a million times. This type of mice. It probably comes up.
Yeah,